Hey, I'm trying this again. Hopefully, people saw the thumbnail. I was told that it wasn't coming up on YouTube. I don't know what's going on. I hope you guys can come through and see and everything. I'm still clicking buttons and trying to see what's going on. I really don't know. Everything's supposed to be working, and I don't know. I really couldn't tell you. So, excuse me for any noise that you hear. Uh, yeah, I don't get it. Like why is it showing me like okay? My old intro. Uh yeah, I don't know what's going on. Uh hey, I can't see you. Thank you, D. No, D, I don't know if you back, but I got my yes. She was talking about the other day. No. I ended the live and came back or whatever. I was cooking on the witch column. As far as I know, everything is working. Uh, so I'm not sure if it's a hesitation on it coming up live on the YouTube stream or whatever. Hopefully you guys can hear me. But I was talking about the fact that Bill Haney, he's not able to go to Australia. And was it on purpose or not? That was the question I had. I'm gonna learn how to, put polls up and stuff like that eventually. But I have to learn things as I go, like on the job training. Um, but we know that Devin Haney has got his big match for Undisputed with George Kambosos. I went into last video that I just broke down, like basically how George got to be in the predicament that he's in, or have the edge that he has. Like I said, I'm gonna reiterate that I think he caught lightning in a bottle when he fought Teofimo. I think if Teofimo and him ran it back, I don't think he would have won. I really don't think he can beat all the top lightweights. I think it was just his night, and he was blessed that night. That's all. And I don't think that this situation that Bill find himself in, I don't think that George could have, planned that better than himself. So I'm just not agreeing with the narratives that are being pushed out there. Some folks are with it being a black issue, and I'll get into why we should watch what we say when we say black issues a lot, because it really is not good for real black issues in the long run. It's like the boy who cried wolf, so to speak. And I know that there are black issues out there, and I'm not talking about those. But this particular issue is not a black issue, because what we can't say is that Australia. I'm just picking up where I left off, y'all. So y'all can go look at the first video. I see it in my collection. I don't know why it's not showing up when you do a search, but maybe they'll get it together. I don't know if they still got me on a delay or whatever, just to see if I'm gonna, do whatever. Um, and I explained in that first video where I was all week. My channel actually got wiped out and everything, and I had to do some creative stuff to try to get it back up and running and all this stuff. And I explained on Saturday I did a live, and folks came in, but I had to go through the old YouTube way. And today I'm trying out StreamYard again to see if it's gonna work, but hopefully it will. Hopefully you guys will find your way back or whatever. But anyway, so George Kambosos, to be in the predicament he earned that right. I'm not taking nothing away from him. He beat Teofimo fair and square. I still say Teo was not on his game that night. So if he was to say running back, I don't think he would have still had them belts. I don't think that they made that rule up for Bill Haney not being able to go to Australia. I don't think they made that up specifically for him. I think that that rule was in place before him. They didn't, they didn't have him in mind. So it's not a black issue. So we have to stop saying that. I really do believe we have to stop saying it. So it will be prudent for Team Haney to go to Australia weeks in advance so that they can acclimate to the climate, if nothing else, to get used to everything. Because one thing you don't want to do, and people who have never been nowhere, been out the country or anything, they don't know nothing about this. When you go outside your comfort zone, your country or whatever, and I ain't talking about I went to the next state over. Well, I went south 2 states down. No, I'm talking about when you really travel. There's a such thing as trying to climatize. That is a real thing. If you ain't never been through it, you don't know how I feel. I don't know what to tell you, but it is a real thing. So it's prudent for people to leave early so that they can climatize. Like I said, if nothing else, because that can have an adverse effect on you, especially entering into some kind of competition or competitive things such as combat sports, even. So it was prudent for Team Haney to leave weeks early, and Bill was trying to travel with them, only to know or find out that he couldn't. So Bill is aware of this. Bill know what he done in his life, and I'm not knocking Bill. Bill is a grown man. Bill has made his mistakes like we all do when we're young, and he has evolved from it. He not crying about it. He not saying it's a black issue. It's just unfortunate. The lesson that we all should take in this situation, and I mean everybody, is what you do what you say and what you do will follow you in life. If you don't believe it, look at Bill Haney right now. He did something that I'm sure he can, if he could take it back, that he wish he could when he was a young man, some 30 years ago. You are not the same as today as you were 30 years ago. Nobody is. So he did something when he was young, and it's having a consequence on him right now. So anybody watching it, we should all just be like, oh, learn the lesson. That's what we should be. Should be doing. But to be transparent, he made his rounds in these content, creators channels and said, told them what was up, being transparent. Look, I ain't get approved. But he stresses, but I wasn't disapproved. So I'm keeping factual action. I have not been approved, but I wasn't disapproved. So when you won't disapprove, that means there's no final decision. That's the only logical conclusion you can make from that information. There is no final decision, which means his case is still being reviewed. That's the only conclusion we can make thus far as of today. I don't know of any changes. I know that I'm late to it because I couldn't get my channel up and running last week. So I know a lot of other folks have talked about it already. And so I'm late to the game in a sense, but hey, this is what I'm telling you guys. So the convening authorities are still reviewing his situation, and hopefully it will work out by the time his second fight with George. And it would be convenient for George. Like George couldn't have planned this shit better. And if it gives George a mental edge, so be it. I can't complain. I ain't gonna cry about that. I can't complain about it. If it wind up giving George a mental edge, so be it. That's what it is. It's giving him a mental edge. You know what I'm saying? So he could do what he want to do. Again, hopefully I'm put these things up right now. So far, it's showing that I'm live. If you're not seeing it, I don't know what to say. I don't know how. It's almost like it try to merge with my last live. I don't really know, y'all. I'm trying to work out the kinks. But here's the thing. Only thing I want to stress, we gotta stop with the black thing. Can't use the black card. If you can't use the black card when it's good, don't use it when it's bad. That's one thing. I live by that. Like if having the black card didn't stop me from doing a bad thing, then it can't stop me from doing anything else. Like I often find it remarkable that people can think of the black card or any excuse. Like somebody can be like, man, we sisters. Dude, that's my brother. No, that's my mom. That's my dad. Well, if that title didn't motivate you or curtail you from doing XYZ, then why bring it up now when you need it? And that's what it sounds like to me when people a lot of times use the black card these days. Plus, doing that oversaturates the black issues and desynthesize real black issues and turns people off. That's the danger of using the black card all the time. And everything is not about the black card. Everything don't boil down to the black card. So we got to stop using that and everything because it's not warranted. You know what I'm saying? And you don't want to oversaturate things. It's almost you're gonna put it in a setting of remember the boy that cried wolf. Remember how he kept crying wolf, and everybody kept taking him serious until they didn't. You don't want to do that, but that's what happens when you make everything about the black card, especially when it's not. So and then also, which it in turns prevent folks from properly addressing real necessary issues of black people that black people have or be facing. We don't want that either. You don't want to start no trend that way either. So, to my knowledge, Bill Haney, and I might not know this, has not classified this as a black issue. To my knowledge, I'm not hearing anywhere where he said that. I looked, I can't see everybody's thing, but I'm not hearing that from a whole lot of folks that Bill Haney classifies this whole situation like they trying to keep a black man down. They doing this and they doing that. I'm not hearing that type stuff. So that's to my knowledge. So you have to be careful with that. But some folks are classifying this as a black issue, and I just implore you to stop doing that. But my question is to you guys is, is it like, because they put it out there, is it, and I told y'all why I don't see it that way. Because one, that law was made, they ain't even know a Bill Haney. It wasn't made with him in mind. It wasn't made specifically for this fight. That law been in existence for a long ass time, and I try my best to look to find out when did that law go into effect, and I need it for a specific reason, as I will tell you later. But no, I couldn't find anything, so I asked you guys. Y'all can tell me how y'all feel. Y'all know that I don't trip on nobody's personal opinion. We all have our personal opinions, and I respect everybody's personal opinion. It's an opinion. All gonna have one. You got a working brain, you gonna have opinions. You know what I'm saying? So don't bother me none. I can prefer and want all I want. And I'll speak on it, and what you do with that information is what you do with that information. Does it give Cambosos a mental edge? And I got a lot of questions, and then I'm gonna answer and tell you how I feel. As I say, you guys can tell me how you feel. Does it give Team Cambosos a mental edge? Maybe, but that has no bearing on the team. That that has no bearing on Team Haney. What George team think? Like only if Team Haney let it bother them or get under their skin, then they could. But if they don't let it, then it is what it is because it was not designed for him. It's just unfortunate he falls into this trap, so to speak. This situation is unfortunate indeed, but the law was not, like I said, created for Bill Haney, already in place beforehand. Did Cambosa's team know Bill would run into this problem beforehand? I don't think that that's what they was thinking when they won them belts. I think when he won that belt, like he said, I've been all around the world trying to be great, and I'm going in other people's backyard. It's time that people come to mine. Maybe that's how he felt. You know, he got a whole family. He just had a baby last year. I'm sure his family he want his family to come to fights, and I'm not caking for George. I'm just stating the obvious. So I don't think that had no bearing on why he took his belts home. He took his belts home because that's what most people probably would do. Is it unreasonable for Team Cambosos to win the belts and want to take it back to the house? That's what I just was saying. And I said no. Have Team Cambosos been overly strategic and trying to exercise every advantage and edge over Team Haney? Let me hold on. I put something else that they could, from location, contracts, and money. The answer is a big fat yes. Yes, they have been overly strategic, trying to have that mental edge or just some kind of edge over Team Haney. They have been. Do they have the right to do so? Yeah, they do. That's what any other fighter would do. They have that right to do so. Camboso's team is not the first, and they will not be the last to do so. I just want us as fans to understand that this situation is simply an unintentional modulation on a particular situation. Let me repeat. This is an unintentional modulation on a particular situation. This can serve as a learning lesson in real time about the importance of consequences and what you say and what you do and how it can come back to hurt you in years after the fact. That's the only thing we can take from this. All of us can take this lesson. Even if you haven't done nothing to warrant taking this lesson, it's just a lesson. I'm sure it's something that Bill thinks about deeply. You get a certain age in life and you will have regrets. You'll have thoughts in your minds where you wish you could do something over. But once you grown and you make decisions and choices, they follow you. That's life. So again, Bill Haney is not out there crying about it. And he's not out there acting like a victim or they're trying to blackball him or something, or trying to, they doing this to him because he's black. That's not the case. I haven't heard it. And again, I could be wrong because I can't watch everybody, but I haven't heard it. Bill Haney is a real man and understands this. And he is doing all that he can to rectify this situation. I say, don't give up. And I'm sure that he can make their second date. Now, it might be other people in the pipeline of, coming to this decision, yes or no, either way, that could be, showing George favor, unbeknownst to George, or maybe even beknownst to George. But this is not something that George could have created and orchestrated himself by virtue of the fact that law has been in place for years. And years ago, we didn't know who George Kambosos was. So he wasn't even on the Haney's radar. So that's why I tell you, it cannot be a black issue. And we just have to stop saying that, or it cannot be something done on purpose. Sometimes you can look at people and say, typical them, stereotypes sometimes do seem like they're true. But we should not stereotype people. But, he's a young black man growing up in America, and he did what most do in his young life. He has since turned his life around. He has evolved. He's an awesome father. Got to give him credit for that. Give him credit for evolving. I don't give people credit for stuff they're supposed to do. I'm happy that he is a great father, but you're supposed to be. But give him credit for growing as a man, mentality and mature wise. Got wisdom. Because he's not repeating. He's not a repetitive offender, of whatever he got in trouble for. Now, the law, just to give the gist of it, was basically, they ask you, are you a felon? I guess those criminal type questions. And then they ask you something about, have you been, and I don't like to say it just like this, but something about substantial time in jail or something, where you convicted and spent a substantial time in jail. And Bill Haney's answer would be yes. And they explained what they meant by substantial. Substantial don't mean 3 months, 2 months. Substantial means a year or more, 12 months or more. And so Bill Haney fell into that category. You know, he was a convicted felon. He did this crime 30 years ago. He was over the age of 21. So it's not going to get expunged. They're not going to give him the young man pass. You know, like back in my day when you were young, they would expunge your record easily, or they just give you a pass. They be like, "You're young. That's why you're doing this stuff." Because we understand when people are young, they make foolish decisions. But once you're 21, and especially back then in this country, you are what you are. Whatever you did, you did. You know, and it follows you forever, ever. You don't get rid of it. So you can still live a good, healthy life where you're not missing out on anything and this, that, and the other. But it don't mean that there will come a time when something will catch you up and prevent you or exclude you from doing something you want to do because of what you did back then. That's the lesson, y'all. That's the lesson. I take the lesson. You know, I'm taking the lesson. But that's what it is. And that's what Bill understands. And it's time for all of us to understand as fans. Devin is a grown man. He's 23. He will be okay. He has to just stay focused and believe he's going to be okay. He has good representation to replace Bill Haney. I hear that Zab Judah's father is going to be there to help him out. So he's going to be okay. Now, there is something I do want to say that made me say, about this whole situation. I've said all that I just said. And I've said, you know, and I was like, hey, it's not a black issue. They didn't make this up for Bill. George Cambosos is not that clever to put this kind of shit on their plate. He has been talking shit, saying, I don't want to hear no excuses. And if I'm going to whoop this dude's ass, and I don't want to hear no crying and no excuses about the fact that his father couldn't be there. Is he right to say that? He right to say whatever he want. He right to feel whatever he want. But there is no excuses. You know, again, George Cambosos ain't that clever. But there is something that makes me say, And like I said, as far as I know, y'all, this video is live. You guys can see it. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if they got a delay with my shit. I couldn't tell you, but I'm trying. So, anywho, it reminded me of something when I'm hearing this situation. And I watch a lot of YouTube channels all the time. I barely watch TV anymore. But I was reminded of a Vlad TV interview with this guy named Mob James a while ago. Now I'm gonna play a little snippet. Because again, in light of what I just went through, I don't want to go through nothing. But before I play this snippet, I'm telling you guys, I do not own this program. Is for educational purposes. Share the screen. But so hold on. I do not own this. It's for educational purposes. As you see, it's Vlad TV. You can go subscribe to him. He's an excellent interviewer. He interviewed a lot of people. But when I'm thinking about this Bill Haney situation, this is the first thing that pops in my mind. And I don't know if anybody else caught it. It's just something that popped in my mind. Mob James do a long interview, and I can't remember if it's the first or second interview, because he did a couple of with Vlad, where he explains his time in Australia. And if y'all go watch the videos, this interview, and I suggest that you do, you're going to hear about this man's life story. It's very touching. Very good interview. This man evolved, and he could tell you his story. I mean, it warms your heart. If it don't touch you, I don't know who you are, why it wouldn't. But it touched me because I was like, this man talked about from once he started to how he is at this point in time in his life. and the lessons he learned and what he gleaned from his experiences. I mean, wow. If that ain't, just good info, I don't know what to tell you. But I'm just going to try to play a little snippet. Again, I do not own the rights to this program. This is for educational purposes only, and this is to prove a point. It's a teachable point. So fair use. I'm invoking fair use. This is Vlad TV's little interview with Mob James. And watch.
All that. And you actually had a whole tour in Australia that you did.
Yeah, loved it. Loved it. Never been treated the way I was treated out there in my life. Those people are beautiful. I seen stuff that I wish we had here.
Okay. That's all I'm going to play. Because again, I don't want to go too long. And I don't want to, coming off like I'm breaking no rules or whatever. I'm very leery of all this stuff, right? In light of what just happened to me last week. But y'all heard the man himself say he went to Australia. That's all I needed you to hear. You could go subscribe to Vlad TV and watch the video yourself. Watch the 4 videos. As I said, he did like a couple of videos with Vlad. Go watch him. Because right there, you heard it from his mouth. I went to Australia and he told you how he was treated. But the segment talks about, it says Mob James on white women calling him the N-word during a show in Australia. That's what he was talking about. And you can Google that and it'll come right up, or look it up and that little section will come up and you can hear all about it. Why is it important? Because where did he say he went? He was talking about his visit to Australia. So he had speaking engagements, interviews, and whatnot. He did a show. Right? The thing that makes me say, and I say this with all due respect to Mob James as well, he was able to go to Australia. Probably had to fill out those same paperwork that Bill Haney had. Y'all see where I'm going with this? He has the same issue that Bill has. Where Bill had to put yes on his paperwork as a felon, as a person who was convicted and spent substantial amount of time in jail, 12 plus months. That applies to Mob James too. Now the question is, was the law or procedure in effect when Mob James went? I was really trying to find that answer. Like, how long ago did Mob go? This particular interview was done back in February 2020, I think. But how long ago did Mob go to Australia? Why they let him in? What's the difference? He's doing a show. Isn't the boxing event a show? Entertainment, right? But I would say anybody watching this can put that plug in Bill's ear and say, hey, if nothing else, go reach out to that man and see what he did to get over that hump. Because obviously, you can get over the hump. But that made me think. I was like, wait a minute now. Is this rule for just Bill? That's the only thing that make me say, And then I couldn't find correspondence that detail how involved the government is in this fight. But they are. From paying money, fees, providing whatever the government of Australia is, in a sense, sound like to me, invested in the fight in some kind of way, shape, or form. So, and that's the only pathway where you can say, you know what I'm saying? So I would look into that if I was the Haneys, or at least go ask about it. Because like I said, I could see that if this fight is June 5th, I can see June 6th, the paperwork coming back, say, oh yeah, Bill, you can come. That's why I say he'll be there at least for the second fight. Or, something crazy like that. Strange things happen. But if I was Bill Haney, I would reach out to Mob James. He owns a podcast called Gangster Chronicles, I believe. And I don't think he's hard to find. And both of you guys are citizens of California or native citizens of California. So that's something Bill could probably do. He probably already on it. I don't think I'm the first and the only person that saw that. I'm just telling you that's the first thing that popped in my head when I was hearing about the Bill Haney situation. I was like, well, what if he can't go? How did Mob James go? And again, I say this with all due respect to Mob James, because you don't want to shit on nobody else. Be like, bring somebody into somebody else stuff. But that's not what I was doing. So I just think that that is something to be looked into. Because if it's about you spending time in jail, what Mob James did, you guys can watch the video to find out what he did in his previous life that put him in the same category as Bill. They say criminal. They say felon. They said substantial time in jail. This man can answer yes to all of them, just like Bill Haney can. But yet, some kind of way, somehow, some way, none of that prevented him from going to the great country of Australia. It's worth looking into. You know, that made me say, So that's what I had to say about it. It's not a black issue. It was not specifically made. It's one of those things that fall into your lap. If it gives George Kambosos an advantage or an edge mentally, at least, it fell into his lap. You know, just like I want to be careful how I say it because that war with Russia and Ukraine is serious. And God bless both sides, and I hope cooler heads prevails. But and I say both sides because it's people involved. You know what I'm saying? That didn't have nothing to do with this shit. They just following orders. But for Davin Haney, who's been avoided and been getting the raw end of the stick a lot, in my opinion, in this division with people avoiding him. That war fell into Devin's lap. You can't say Devin created it. He didn't create the animosity between Ukraine and Russia or the issues that they have. But look, they've always had them probably before Devin Haney was even born. And at this point, it worked to his favor. It fell into his lap. Because if that war didn't happen and Loma Chico didn't have to be over there, Devin wouldn't be getting this opportunity. That's what I mean by George didn't create the situation. It fell into his lap. If it gives him that mental edge, so be it. He cannot be upset about that. That man ain't that clever to create this whole scenario. Lomachenko, Devin is not that clever to create the situation that Lomachenko finds himself in. So they have to prefer him. Because if Lomachenko was out on these streets and that war wasn't going on, I believe with all my heart that George Kambosos would have went Lomachenko's route or somebody else's route. But to try not to go for undisputed doesn't make sense to nobody. The only way that it could have somewhat flew over the heads of some folks is if he'd have fought Lomachenko. That's the only way. Because then they can be like, we back to square one. Lomachenko got 3 of the belts. Devin got 1. And y'all two mix it up. Because we do feel Lomachenko ducked Devin. We do feel that in these boxing streets. So it would have been something that people could have accepted. Right now, I don't think the boxing fans could accept any other opponent that George could pick. Why wouldn't you go for the gusto? That's what people gonna see and think. So that's what's going on. But I would say it would do Bill Haney some good, maybe to talk to people who've been through that, just like him, like a Mob James, and see what he did to get over this hump. For the same number. Anyway, that's all I had to say about that. I found that very interesting. I try to make that connection. Hopefully y'all got where I was coming from. Just a couple of more news, and then I'm gonna end this and see if this even worked, and see if I have to revamp and go do it elsewhere. I might have to reiterate everything I said today on another show because, as far as I know, like I said, everything's working. Andy Ruiz is urging Tyson Fury not to retire until they match up. I think he's too late. How convenient of him, to say it now. Should have said that early when the rumors first started. Tyson he gonna have to be. It's gonna have to be for a lot of money for Tyson Fury. I think it would be a good fight because you're talking about a person who can box. And that height over Andy, I'm sure Andy had to deal with that a lot, and it ain't gonna matter. As long as he's in shape, it's gonna be a good fight. I think, according to Bob Arum, Tyson probably come back for the winner between AJ and Usyk. That's the only way he'll come out of retirement. So we have to wait and see. Tank Davis is saying after his Rolly fight, he's already looking past Rolly. He wants Devin Haney. That's going to be good. But is Devin Haney, if Devin Haney wins and then re-wins on the rematch, is he going to want to fight Haney? Is Devin Haney going to want to stay at 135 for a long time? Or is he going to do like most people and drop the belts? Don't know. You have to see. But Tank is now talking like, yo, I want to go for the legacy. I want to go get some hardware. I can't be mad at that. It's hard to follow a boxer who just in it for the money because you just can't come off the street. I don't even care if you that popular and just be like, yo, line my pockets up. And you ain't trying to go to the Super Bowl? What the fuck? I can't do it. And why Tank saying that? It's because of what Devin said. Devin getting to that age where he ain't mixing no words. He gonna talk his shit and swallow spit. Devin basically said he might as well. He basically said this about Tank. You might as well go ahead and stay with Mayweather. Because a lot of folks feel like Floyd being slow walking Tank, making sure he be in fights that he know he can beat, not giving him challenges, and everything. And that's it's like a very clever way of ducking or avoiding hard challenges, adversity. I mean, that's just how it looks. And Devin said as much. Devin has said a couple of things about some people, like when he was saying, I ain't with all that this side of the street and da 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 da. You know who he was referring to. But I mean, the man speaking his mind. He's allowed to do that. It's kind of like saying he ain't going to do nothing because he's been protected all of his career. I don't see how Tate cannot hear it like that. So Tate like, all right, shit. Once you finish dealing with George, come see me. So that's gonna be interesting. That's an interesting fight too. We're gonna see if pure boxing gonna win. Problem is, for me, Devin don't have any kind of pop on his punch. And Tank is a pure boxer. So not only can Tank box, but he got pop. Whereas Devin just can box. That don't always have to stay like that forever. Maybe Devin's gonna get his power as he get bigger and get older. I don't know. In other news as well, Canelo is he's going to fight Triple G according to it's Eddie Hearn and them. He's gonna fight Triple G September 17th as planned. But will not be a rematch at this time with Bivol. They saving it for later, but it's a 3-fight deal. So if he fights September 17th, you got to get ready and turn around and fight again in December. Because my understanding, his 3-fight deal was for this year. So I don't know. He's stretching it thin. So he gonna fight Triple G. I think he gonna watch Triple G easy. I think he probably have to have like a 2-week camp or something to fight Triple G. Triple G has showed his age in his fight with Murata. Triple G still a force to be reckoned with. He has his power, but the reflexes and his quick movements and whatever, he is age. You can tell he's 40 years old, and you can see it. And Canelo is early 30s, so it's gonna be an easy match. Canelo, probably he doing it just to finish out the contract. Maybe he gotta get a tune up or practice some things. I don't know what he got to do. But coming back to Bivol, I don't think nothing's going to change. The outcome would not change because Bivol is just that guy. So let's talk about the fights that just happened this weekend. You had Taylor and Kroll. I think Taylor won that fight. I think he was robbed because they gave it a draw. He was the more active. He was the more effective, I would say. Kroll could box. Seemed like he can box better than Taylor. Because Taylor's kind of wide, but he's one of them awkward fighters. But he was scoring the more effective blows and punches, and he dictated the pace, and he was the dominating force in the ring. And giving him a draw, I think that was not right. He had Gomez versus Cota. Cota was weird looking. He's a weird, awkward fighter. He looked like you can't even hurt his body. He looked like a machine. But Gomez is a better fighter. Gomez already is in love with his boxing power. He's from Cuba, and you can see that, and that's sad because he need to stay boxing. If you're from Cuba, that's one thing we know about them Cubans, that they can box. But you can tell this man is already in love with his boxing power, and something might happen with him. He's in I think 154 division, I believe so. And yeah, those guys up there can fight. So yeah, I don't know what he got to do. He got to stay focused and stay boxing and let the power come, because he does got crack, man. This guy Gomez does got crack. He remind me of what was that Canadian dude? Oh man, did they call him Superman? Adonis Stevenson. He put me in a mind of a young Adonis Stevenson. The change is not for me, but I just thought I'd put that out there. So Benavidez, and Lemieux. Oh my God, what can I say about that fight? I'm gonna play a snippet just because it's funny. I do not own the rights to this for educational purposes only. Fair use. I'm invoking. I can't say enough. I don't have the words. He demolished them. He smashed them. I honestly at 168 don't know who could beat him. In my mind, I don't think because he's so aggressive, and I don't think nothing hurts him. I got him beating pretty much everybody at 168. I don't know about Boo Boo though. Boo Boo makes me say, just a little bit. Just a little bit. But everybody else, even Canelo, I think Canelo and him is a 50-50, because you know what? David Benavidez is not a real boxer. Him or his brother. I've said this before. They are not somebody I would call a complete boxer. I would never just put that moniker on them. They're not complete boxers. But they tough. He tough. David Benavidez stays squared up, and I don't get it. But this is all I can say when it comes to David Benavidez. This is how I feel. Mana summed it up best. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. Phenomena. But it sounded like you said phenomena. He put on a phenomenal performance. And so I mean, David Benavidez kind of tore his draws with me a couple of months back when his manager was talking that old nut shit. But in the end of the day, he a fighter. I like what he said. I'm gonna give him his credit always, just like I give Charlo his credit. He said them bitches, he called them bitches, talking about all his potential competitors. Ain't gonna get in with me. And shit, I guess that's how you gotta be, David. Get them up in the ring. So we'll see. We'll see. Cause I know one person who won't mind getting in there with you, and that's Boo Boo. So let me see how quick you gonna run to that. Look at that Whitney Houston song, I Wanna Run to You. See how quick you run to that. So I don't know. Other news, Ryan Garcia, his fans, they gotta at this point explain what they like about this dude. And the only reason I say why he has the fandom that he has, because they keep equating his personal fans to actual boxing fans. And I submit to you, that's not the case. I guarantee you that cannot be the case. People who really, really like boxing to the point that they're going to follow you and shit on your social media, I guarantee you, they are not there for your boxing acumen. You know, I always give credit to Isaac Cruz and his team for evoking or inventing the duck clause. Because you got to come up with a duck clause when you're dealing with Ryan Garcia. Because dude is going to cancel duck or whatever. He's going to name off a fight. He's going to say he's not going to fight it. I mean, he's not real at this point. He's almost an illusion, something fake. So, and he keeps allowing himself to be that way. But I tell you guys, the guy is happy with being a local celebrity. Whenever he want to mow down a chick, it happens. You know what I'm saying? What more can a young man want than to be able to mow down what he want to mow down and travel the world and have money in his pocket and drive the cars he want? This man is worth $10 million. So that right there is an amazing feat in itself. Like, how does he get the paydays he get for doing absolutely nothing? Now, he act like after that Tego fight that he was making a change for the better. I was like, oh, you know, he kind of, you know, seemed like he in a little reality, got a reality check. But no, he slipped right back. So I'm not saying he's the terrible person. I'm just saying in boxing, a lot of us take it seriously. These are people's lives and careers. They devote a lot of time, a lot of sacrifices just to be in this business. And us as fans, we pouring a lot of money. Like I told you, I'm the last one weekend to have subscriptions to everything. I got subscriptions to Showtime, ESPN Plus, Paramount, but you name it. I buy all my shit. I have bought all my shit. So I personally don't want to have to deal with somebody who has a blase blah casual connection with the sport. Like he doesn't care. He has a blase blah attitude, casual attitude about boxing in general. He has to. He doesn't take it seriously. So to all the Ryan Garcia fans, I would really love to know, what are you a fan of? Can you guys just, you don't have to come in just my show. Come in my show or any other person's show and just explain to us so we can just know, what are you a fan of when it comes to him? What is it? So we could just have that understanding. Now I will address this last thing and then I'm gonna sign out. There's rumors going around, allegedly, that Bud is asking for $20 million. To that, for the Earl Spence fight. To that, I said, I don't care. Again, they both agreed that they would talk about money issues behind closed doors. But what I will say, unless Bud says it, unless you see it come out of his mouth, or Bomac, or even Bernie the Boxer, I'm going to have to err on the side that it's not true. But let me entertain it for just a second. If it is true, because of the type of dude he is, I'm going to have to believe that he didn't just pull that out his ass. There's a reason he said that, because there's also rumors and allegedly, you know, this is what I hear. This is not something Miss T knows. This is what I hear. And I'm going to show you how that works. When they be saying, it's rumor Bud asked for 20 million. Well, it's rumors that Earl asked for 50. It's also rumors that Earl is turning down VADA testing. And y'all know I've been watching to see when he did a VADA test for the Ugas fight, which I have not seen. I saw the Ugas did. And Earl holds the WBC belt. Him of all people had to have participated in VADA. But shit, the way it looked, apparently not. And there's rumors saying that Earl doesn't want to put it in the contract that there'll be no VADA testing. I mean, these are rumors. You see how that works? See how that works? Allegedly. He's refusing VADA. He asked for 50 million. It's rumors. See how that work? But yet, I'm in no affiliation with Earl Spence. I don't know him. I don't know his team or nothing. So how would I know? I just know what rumors say. And that's how people be talking about Terrence Crawford. So that's why I say, even if I entertain that Terrence asked for 20 million, he ain't pull it out his ass. If you gonna pay Earl Spence 50 million, if that's what he gonna ask for, if that rumor is true, then and I'm entertaining that because I don't know. I don't know it, just like I don't know with the Bud. I was air on the caution of no, it ain't true. But if let's entertain it for a second. If it is true that Earl asked for 50, then what you think you supposed to pay Bud? 5 million? Y'all cannot possibly think that Earl, there's that big of a gap between these two men as far as talent and know-how. Ain't no fucking way under the sun that there's that big of a gap or that much daylight in between Earl and Bud. No fucking way. So if Bud did ask for 20, there's a special reason that he asked for 20. I don't think so because Bud didn't say it, and Bomac didn't say it, and Bernie the Boxer didn't say it. Now when they said, I might be like, oh, that might be hot off the press. Other than that, everybody guessing or speculating or assuming or just plain old making the shit up. Again, I hear the rumors that Earl is asking for 50. I don't know that. I didn't hear Earl say it. I didn't hear Derek James say it. So to me, I got to err on the side that it's not true. But if I just entertain it for a second, he gonna ask for 50? And what you gonna pay Bud? Because remember, Tim Smith this year act like they couldn't afford to pay Bud what he was used to at Top Rank, which is like $4 million. That was a bridge too far. But you gonna pay Earl 50, and then you gonna maybe give Bud 4 or less? Nah, bro. That don't even make sense. So if it's true that Bud asked for 20, then it's true that Earl asked for 50. But y'all see how that works? See how rumors work? See how allegedly shit works? Especially when you have no affiliation, no connection whatsoever with either team. See how that works? But what I can say about the VADA, I've looked, y'all, and I've diligently looked for weeks and weeks on it. Every week I do. I still don't see where Earl took that test for the Ugas fights. And it has came and gone. But yet he is the WBC belt holder. So that gives me pause. Anti-VADA testing was good. Just to be included in the program don't mean that you always took the test. So in the end of the day, that's all I have for y'all today. I hope that I can't tell how good this shit is working because if I go to YouTube right now, it won't even show that I'm live right now. I should have looked up on YouTube to see if I had a thumbnail set up there. I really couldn't tell you what's going on, but hopefully I might be missing a step. If it don't work today, again, as I said, tomorrow I'll probably reiterate some of the things that I said today. I don't know if it'll be a pause or delay. Eventually it'll get posted. It works everywhere but 2 spots that I'm seeing. As far as I see right now, it's working. But I don't know. But anywho, thank y'all for joining me. And out of here. Okay.